This is the official voicemail of Maximus Aurelius. 3 weeks from now, I will be harvesting my crops. Imagine where you will be, and it will be so. Hold the line. Stay with me. If you find yourself alone, riding in the green fields with the sun on your face, do not be troubled, for you are in Elysium, and you are already dead! And if not, leave a message after the beep. Strength and honor.
Hey, Maxie? It's Glutes. Yeah, I was, walking to my chariot this morning, and you'll never believe what happened. Yeah, it had a flat. I went to look for the spare, and I sold it for grain. Can you believe it? I totally won't be there tomorrow for this battle. I really wish I could be there, but I was told 3 days for this tire to come in. Can you believe it? So anyways, good luck. Strength and honor.
Hi, yeah, Mr. Aurelius? General Aurelius? Yeah, I'm sorry to say, it's Finicus, and, I don't know how to tell you. I got a slight touch of the leprosy. Yeah. It's really bad. I think my nose, it's falling off right now. Yeah, there it goes. That's why I might be talking so funny. It might sound like someone's pinching my nose, but no, it really fell off. I really have the leprosy. I know it's a really big war tomorrow, but, I don't think I can make it. Sorry, touch of leprosy.
Hey, Max. Yeah, it's me, Ralph. I have a bit of a problem here. My horse has a case of diarrhea. Believe it or not, I don't know what the hell happened, really. I had no idea this was gonna... Honey! Really? Get down away from me!
What are you doing?
Get away!
Who are you talking
God
to?
damn it!
Who are you talking
Max,
to?
as you can see, I got bigger problems here, but anyway, I can't make it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Who was that?
Fuck off.
Hey, this is JPar, and this is the We Promise Nothing show. Tonight on the show, we have Myles, we have Clayton, and we have Taboo. But before we get things started, I'd like to remind everyone the music you're listening to right now has been brought to you by SoundsLikeAnEarful.com. If you need great music for your podcast, check them out, SoundsLikeAnEarful.com. Now tonight, we are reviewing Gladiator, 2000 flick directed by Ridley Scott. And before we get into that, why doesn't everyone say hello to the crowd?
What's up, you filthy Romans?
Yo, it's Myles. I'm waiting to be entertained.
Are you not entertained?
I'm not entertained.
Is this not why you're here?
Taboo is here as always.
And yes, we're gonna review this great movie, which I'm sure we're all very fond of. I don't think we're going to give it too bad of ratings, but you might be surprised. Before we get into that, I'd like to remind everyone that we also have another great show on Eastlink. If you're in the Sudbury area, you can tune into local channel 10 and HD 610 to watch our great new show, Late Night Ticket. If you like what we do here, we review movies and we argue. That's what we attempt to do on this show as well. Please check us out, and thank you for your support, and thank you for listening to this podcast as well. We really appreciate it. So now let's move on to our review of Gladiator. It's directed by Ridley Scott, starring Russell Crowe, Joaquin Phoenix, Connie Nielsen, and that person.
Oh, that person. I've seen him in lots of things.
Is that Jimon Hunsu?
Thank you!
Yeah.
So, if you haven't seen this before, when a Roman general is betrayed and his family is murdered by an emperor's corrupt son, he comes to Rome as a gladiator to seek his revenge. Gladiator! So, we're going to do first impressions, and then we're going to do a little trivia. What are your first impressions when this came out in the year 2000? Clayton.
Yeah, when this movie came out.
Cletus Maximus. I might say. Everyone, this is Cletus Maximus.
Yeah. when Gladiator
Myles.
came out, we're going there.
Nice.
Mylos.
I like that.
And
Davos.
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 Nice.
Davos.
Davos Boudros.
Davos.
And I am JParius Maximus.
Anyways, yeah, when Gladiator came out in 2000, there was a lot of like historical biopics being released, and this one was a really big one, like helmed by Ridley Scott, who's an awesome director, and then they had an awesome story that was fairly historically accurate and a really good cast, and everybody just did a good job. Like,
And you saw it when it came out in 2000, correct?
yeah.
Excellent. Myles, when did you see it, and how did it affect you then when you first saw it? First impressions.
I first saw it when it first came out, year 2000, 17 years ago.
Wow. You're old, dude.
I'm old now. Prior to seeing Gladiator, the closest thing I got to see on the silver screen was Sinbad and Jason and the Argonauts.
Sinbad the Sailor.
Yeah, they had like...
Not the stand-up comedian.
Not the stand-up comedian. We're talking old, semi-autobiographical... I don't even know how you would say it. What century is this all taking place in? Like first century?
This what Gladiator?
Yeah.
193. No, it's got to be before 193, but it's
Okay,
it's
so-
right around there.
So that'd be first century then?
Yeah.
Right? Or second? Anyways,
Second century.
what I'm getting at is I was used to like claymation and
Yes,
stop animation as being the
like Clash of the
special
Titans
effects.
type thing.
Exactly.
The owl.
Yeah.
That's what I was used to. So when I seen this was a major
And
step
we're talking
up.
about the old Clash of the Titans, not the new one, once again. The original.
Yes,
the
original.
orig.
Yeah, OG.
Does someone want to do a fact check on when the original Clash of the Titans came out? Maybe Jason or the Argonauts while you're at it as well.
Would you call it Jason and the Orgonauts?
Yeah, Jason and the Argonauts. Me and the Argonauts? No. So yeah, when did you see it? How did it affect you?
I saw it when it first came out. Honestly, it was...
Sorry, my intro. Dabu, what's your first impressions?
I just feel like this was one of those movies that I felt had all-around great things on all levels, right? I think you had summed it up pretty well, actually, Clayton. It was like the good cast, good score, good story. It just had so many great elements to it that made it such a great movie. I think that's why, to me, to this day, I could say this is easily one of my top 5 favorite movies. Just simply because it offers me a lot of what I expect out of a movie like this.
Yeah.
But I think Ridley Scott really did a great job at compiling a bunch of different things on different levels and actually gave us a different medium of a movie that I don't normally see from other directors. I think that's why, for me, this, along with another piece of work he had done, I think I enjoyed just as well as Master and Commander, I think was what it was called. Mm-hmm. I think that also is a Ridley Scott movie. I might have to check that out.
Fact check yourself.
Yeah, I just feel like I think it is one. But anyway, these were both movies that offered both Russell Crowe and at the same time were
Russell Crowe!
really interesting stories all in themselves from 2 different perspectives. In this case, we're talking Gladiator.
So what'd you find? Myles?
Mm?
Did you find the Clash of the Titans?
Yes, I did. Did you want to know about that?
Yeah. What's the year?
Okay, so the original was 1981.
Okay.
Jason and the Argonauts came out in 1963.
Oh, wow.
And Master and Commander was directed by Peter Weir.
Yeah, see, I had a feeling I was a little bit wrong there.
But
My bad.
Yeah, that's all right.
Again, we don't promise anything.
We promise nothing.
If you came here for facts, you came to the wrong place.
We can't
You're
even
your own
promise
damn fact
saying
checker.
our own slogan right.
called
We don't
Google.
promise
That's
anything.
Welcome to the We Don't Promise Anything show.
This is the We Promise Anything, Don't Promise Anything show. Terrible.
I flipped it on up. Oh, forget it.
No,
That's
no.
why you caught on, obviously.
All right, so we're going to go through the facts and trivia presented to you by IMDb. So, as Oliver Reed passed away within the 3 weeks of principal photography, and he's the one who played Proximus, is that correct? Proximo. Sorry. He was considered a key character. A clause in the insurance coverage on the movie would have allowed the filmmaker to shoot all of Reed's scenes with another actor, with the insurers footing the cost, an estimated $25 million. However, most of the actors and crew were exhausted from the punishing schedule, and Ridley Scott did not want to lose Reed from the movie, so the script was rewritten and CGI used to give Reed's character a plausible resolution. Joaquin Phoenix ad-libbed his scream of "Am I not merciful?" and Connie Nielsen's reaction of frightfully pulling away from him was genuine, since she wasn't expecting it. Maximus's description of his home, specifically how the kitchen is arranged and smells in the morning and at night, was ad-libbed as well. It's a description of Russell Crowe's own home in Australia. Over the course of the gladiatorial scenes, Russell Crowe broke bones in his foot and his hip and injured both bicep tendons. Apparently, Mel Gibson was offered the lead role but turned it down because at 43 he felt he was too old to play Maximus.
Thank God. Really?
The wounds on Russell Crowe's face after the opening battle scene are real, caused when his horse was startled and backed him into tree branches. The stitches in his cheek are clearly visible when he is telling Commodus he intends to return home. This is Russell Crowe's favorite of the American films that he has done. He also cites Maximus as his favorite character that he's played so far. And how many awards was it nominated for?
Oh boy.
I mean, that's got to be a big one there. And even was
should be
given
on IMDb, by the way.
Yeah,
It won 5 Oscars.
Yep.
Another 53 wins and 101 nominations in all.
And one of them was being Best Picture, right?
Yeah, it won the Oscar for Best Actor in a Leading Role, Best Costume Design, and Best Sound.
Very good, very good.
Oh, and Best Picture. Sorry, yeah, you were right.
Fantastic. So that's your facts and trivia from IMDb. Now, let's give this movie a review of sorts. Without
sorts, yeah.
Well, that's why we're here, right? Let's not do it of sorts. Let's not just actually do it this time, guys. Let's give it a rating without giving any spoilers away. Although it's a pretty old movie, I'm pretty sure everyone's seen this movie. But shoot, Mang, Kletos.
Well, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 actually. It is a solid movie. And 17 years later, like you said, Myles, you can still watch it. So,
Bam, Myles.
I give it a 4. I thought it was really good. Sound, action, acting, everything was on point. The costume design seemed authentic. You weren't bored. You actually wanted to see all these little stories that were happening throughout the whole movie. It was really well done.
Dabu.
I'm probably going to give it a 4.5. It's honestly, it's just that movie again I can turn to. It's one of my favorites for good reason. It's got all the great shit.
yeah, that's true.
Simply said, it hits it on all levels. I think this is one of those movies I'm never disappointed every time I see it. So 4.5.
Yeah, this is a great movie. This was like one of the first epic battle movies, just to have the epic fight scenes and just, wasn't afraid to be violent and show you like limbs being cut off and just show you how brutal it was to be a gladiator. When I saw this movie originally, it knocked me for a loop. It was a fucking great movie. It's a great spectacle. It has huge set designs, and it's epic and amazing. And it gave us the first scene of, someone waving their fingers through wheat fields, with Zack Snyder, used a lot in his movies later for some reason. He just really liked that scene. He stole it from Ridley Scott. This is a great movie. Highly recommend it. It deserves to be an Oscar winner. Not many movies do deserve to be Oscar winners. This is, and I give it a 4.5. All right, so we're probably not going to be arguing too much about this one, but you can. We'll get into our best and our worst of this, and we can talk about this movie and how it affected us when it came out. So, did you want to lead us on best and worst, Kletos?
Oh, the best part for me is when Maximus, who is now being referred to as the Spaniard, is in the Colosseum after his victory, and he takes off his mask, and because Commodus asks him who he is, and he answers with the line about I am Maximus Aurelius, husband to a murdered wife, father to a murdered son, and in this life or the next I'll have my vengeance, like that.
By the way, we're in spoiler town, folks, if you haven't seen this movie.
Spoiler!
We're a little late on the hop on everything tonight, apparently.
That scene just killed it for me, though. Like, it was It was awesome, like, because he's like, all right, you know where I am. What are you gonna do about it? I'm right here, back from the dead after however long, right? Like, it was just it was an absolute statement right in the middle of the movie, right? So yeah, it was awesome.
So his speech to Commodus.
Yeah, short and sweet.
And this is like one of those first movies that gave like those epic battle speeches that you just like really made you rally behind a hero.
Yeah, and I don't know, the worst part. They're all just kind of varying degrees of good, but really, I'm not a huge fan of Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
And sorry, Joaquin, I hate to bring it down, but I don't know. I just didn't. He was a good Commodus because historically, like Commodus,
he's
is
such
like,
a creep in this movie.
Yeah, but Commodus, like I'm a huge historic history buff, and like Commodus came at the end of Marcus Aurelius' reign, and him and his father actually ruled together for 3 years at the end before Marcus Aurelius Marcus Aurelius died. And Commodus only actually ruled on his own, I think, for 12 years, and he was actually strangled in his bathtub by, I believe, a gladiator. Like, that's how he actually died in real life.
It was Maximus.
He was a scumbag. No, he totally was. Like, no doubt about it. But my worst part, I don't know, just kind of anything to do with him because he's just creepy. It's just shades of good and bad because it's like, oh my god, he's such a creepy actor.
A lot of people might say that's like one of their favorite Joaquin performances, and he adds more.
It is, but he's so creepy that I just. Yeah.
What do you think, Myles?
For me, the best was the opening sequence. It showed Russell Crowe's character Maximus as being the commander that everyone was looking up to. People were saying that like they wanted to change where the catapults were, and he's like, no, they're fine where they are. Just trust me on this. And when he's in battle, he actually goes into like berserker rage, and he almost killed one of his own guys when they backed up against each other. I like that. I like that opening sequence. The Romans against the Horde. That was awesome. I love that. That was so good. What I didn't like was the way that the movie just sort of ended. It seemed rushed. It just seemed like the pacing majorly changed, and it needed to end quick. And I almost felt like
it was a pretty long movie.
It was a long movie, and I even watched the extended cut.
Oh no!
And I felt like the ending could have been even longer if they would have like, I don't know how they could have.
Even the extended cut's not long enough for you.
The extended cut, all it does is give us more.
This
Joaquin
movie is already 2 hours and 35 minutes long.
And is that the extended version? Because
I don't know.
I swear it was 3 hours. The version I watched.
Okay, it probably is. But I'm assuming this is just the regular version.
Okay. Anyways, I just felt like the way that the ending just sort of happened. He got betrayed, and then he was captured, and then he was in the final battle. It just sort of bing, bang, boom. Bob's your uncle.
Bang, bang, boom.
Yeah, stab.
Stabby, stab, stab.
Anyways, that was it for me.
All right, Dabu.
Just way too much in the good end of it there. I guess for me, really the best element of this movie had to be the score. The score itself brought that emotional tone that I was really hoping for. So I kind of feel like every time you've seen...
That's coming in a different direction.
Well, for me, that's part of why this movie had a lot of elements that really were quite intriguing. I think for me, the music had to be the one glue that tied it all in together nicely. So we had all that action, we had all that drama, we had some serious and some quiet moments, but it all tied in nicely with the background music. And I feel like, was it Hans Zimmer, I think, had really been showing his true passion, I think, in that one movie. So for me, the best had to definitely be the musical score. Worst, I think we were picking at a few things there when we're looking for the worst. I think for me, the one scene that stood out as awkward was the final fight between Commodus and Maximus when they were going toe to toe. Right? We all know how the lead up to it, what it was meant to be. It was supposed to be Maximus's death scene, as always, but you didn't quite see it from where it was coming from. But it got to the point where I think when they finally go to their fists. When the sound effects started coming out, like it reminded me.
It's your favorite sound effect.
The sound effect of what was it? I was comparing it to Indiana Jones. I think
you're comparing it to the Wilhelm scream.
In that same regard, yeah. It was just one of those things that took me out of the scene for whatever reason, and I don't know if that's because I've seen too many movies that have that effect that come up. It just took me out of it. So for me, that was maybe my my least favorite moment because it took me out.
All right. My favorite about this, God, there's so much that's good about this. I mean, the action scenes. That opening scene is so good, Myles, and just.
Goddamn right it is, Jay.
Yeah, but you got that. You know, I'm just gonna say the fight scenes in general, even the ones that happen inside the Coliseum, they're just amazing and epic, and you get this whole feeling of, you know, just being in this world and having these crazy Romans cheering on someone's death. You know what I mean? It's insane. Just the whole atmosphere of that, and those scenes are pretty epic on their own. It's enough to watch the movie, even if it didn't have the great story to go behind it. But I will say the fight scenes and many of those scenes are very, very awesome. They don't, like I said, they don't be afraid. They're not afraid to be gory. There's some fights where there's chariots. There's some fights where there's tigers. So they kind of go through a whole bunch of different kinds of battles. So you get to see a lot of varying degrees. It's amazing. What's my least favorite? This isn't the happiest movie. I mean, I like watching this movie over and over again, and I enjoy that it's epic. And every time you do one of these epic battle movies or something brutal like this, there's always like death and loss and tragedy, as you would expect. But I guess if I'm just gonna nitpick and say, like, you know, there is some kind of creepy scenes with Commodus, and there is some, you know, downtime. You know, you'd see people die we don't really want to see die. So it's not like the happiest movie to watch. So I guess that's just, if I was gonna nitpick about say something, I guess that's what it would be.
Well, it's called Gladiator.
No, I know.
Not Sadiator. Not Madiator.
I don't know. I'm just nitpicking at this point because it's a really fucking awesome movie, and it was such an epic movie when it came out. There's really not much like this, except for maybe Braveheart predated this, so that was the only thing that's similar to this at the time.
The irony of that actually is that I own this on DVD in a 2-pack.
Yeah.
With Gladiator and
nice
Braveheart on each on a disc.
Not Master and Commander.
No.
Wow, I mean, so what else can you say about Gladiator, really? I mean, there's not much to debate here. It's just a really good fucking flick.
We gotta get this live. Like, there was a lot of stuff that went on behind the scenes, though. They tried to make the movie really historically accurate, and they tried to bounce between that and cinematic entertainment. Like, they actually had a bunch of historians working with the scriptwriters, and I know that at least one of them left because he thought that the script was turning into garbage because they were taking out historical facts.
Okay.
Like, well, for one thing, the Commodus' eventual fate was different, right? And there's one thing that they don't mention in the movies, and you won't really see this in like any movie about gladiators or TV show, is the fact that the gladiators were an owned commodity, and they actually, since they were they were like the people's champions, they actually used to advertise stuff. When they would go out into the Coliseum, they would advertise people's wares. They would advertise certain political parties. You know, they were like spokesmen for these. So these historians wanted to put this in the movie, but Scott felt that it would detract from
the overall story.
Yeah,
yes.
He's like, okay, and then suddenly the gladiators come out and they're waving a Gatorade sign. Like, it seemed
Gatorade sign.
You know what I mean? Like, it seemed really like people would be like, wait a minute, is that real? Like, even though it actually was, it's like too real for its own.
Okay, so let's talk about how this, affected Russell Crowe's career, because this really propelled him forward. He wasn't much.
Did he have one before?
Well, like I said, he was in L.A. Confidential and The Quick and the Dead, so not really. He wasn't even a lead guy in The Quick and the Dead.
He's Australian, isn't he not?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like he was one of those actors that came in on the scene at a later period in his time.
Now, did he get A Beautiful Mind after this?
I think
so.
Yeah, and he probably got it because of this role.
He was in an Australian movie actually before.
Called Australia.
No, a small one actually called Romper Stomper, where he plays I'm serious. He plays a skinhead, and it's a rough movie.
About that.
Okay.
Like, it's a rough, violent movie, but it was pretty good. I think I have it somewhere kicking around.
Beautiful Mind came out a year after. P.S.
Yeah. And then, of course, Gladiator also inspired movies like 300, and then that, Spartan, Blood and Sand, and all those kinds of
Did
series.
Troy come out first or after that?
Spartacus.
Spartacus. And then Troy came out after as well, yes.
Did it come out after?
Yeah, for sure.
He was also the bad guy in Virtuosity. That was my first movie with him.
Virtuosity. Which one's
Denzel
that?
Washington
Yeah,
goes into a 3D world. They train cops by making virtual versions of famous serial killers, and he is the makeup of 5 famous serial killers.
Oh, crazy.
So he's like Dahmer, he's Charles Manson.
That's a book. Like, it's based on a book, is it not?
I don't know. Both of you know I cannot read a word.
I feel like I'm gonna say it's either a Crichton book or
You're reading it all by the pictures? Is that what you're doing? You're making up your own story?
No, that's a real movie, and it was really well done. But he escapes the virtual world, comes to the real world, and Denzel Washington's the only one who can figure out where he's going to be, who he's going to kill, because he's been studying all those famous killers.
Interesting. All right. Damn. There's really not much to talk about on Gladiator, is there?
It's a good movie.
It's a damn good movie. There's nothing to debate.
Good acting, good music, good acting.
If they rebooted this, because they reboot everything, who would you guys choose as your Maximus?
Really?
If you were to replace Russell?
And now I know you don't want to reboot this, because no, it shouldn't be rebooted, but let's face it, Hollywood does it all the time.
These days, yeah.
If you had to make like some sort of crappy sequel from Hollywood, or if you had to, recast Russell Crowe as a gladiator, who would you choose?
Henry Cavill.
Oh,
That's
really?
what I pick.
That's a good choice.
I've seen him play in the old style. I can't remember what movie he was first in. That was really bad, mind you. But
Immortal?
Immortal.
The Immortals.
Yeah,
No,
The Immortals.
Just
Thank you.
Immortal.
Or
That's what I was thinking as soon as you said it.
Okay, is it Immortal?
It's just Immortal.
Or is it The Immortals?
I think it's Immortals, isn't it?
Okay.
I think it's Immortals.
Oh, I don't even.
Man, we really promised.
You know,
That's a
like,
Zack
if-
Snyder movie.
If you get
Yeah, no, you're right.
he's got.
I'm right. It's
I
Immortals.
just don't remember there's no...
Oh, there is it. It's just Immortals, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Immortals, yeah.
He really nailed that role though. Like I would like him or Mel Gibson turned the role down because he's too old. But
Yeah.
Gerard Butler,
Is that who you would pick?
Hugh Jackman.
Well, who are you picking? Gerard Butler or Hugh Jackman?
I don't know. They all have kind of that same any man can slip into that role kind of thing.
You think so? Do you think any man can, or do
This
you think
is a Best
someone...
Actor award.
Yeah.
Any
Okay,
man
you're
win
gonna have
Best
to go around
Actor?
the table. Come back to me.
No, you go now.
Okay, no. You know what? I would go with Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler.
Despite the fact that that he was in 300 and his role
And-
was
and
almost
who
so
you-
redundant.
I actually would have said Hugh Jackman because that's the other Aussie.
Oh, so the other Aussie, eh? All right. Let's argue a bit. Who would be better? Who convince me? Who's the better gladiator and why, Myles? Why is Henry Cavill better than Gerard Butler or Hugh Jackman?
I'm going to say Henry Cavill nailed the part in Immortals. He was probably the best part of the movie. So he can play in that old style action, and we've seen him as Superman, so he can bulk up. So that's not a problem either. And he's got acting chops. I've seen him play several different roles now, and I like him in his roles. He plays a commanding presence, which is very necessary for this role because you need respect of your soldiers, and that's what Russell Crowe gets throughout the entire movie is respect, start to finish. So that's why I would pick him.
All right, why is Gerard Butler better? And
Well, because Gerard Butler did Leonidas in 300.
I knew you were gonna say that.
It's Leonidas. All he has to do is slip into Leonidas, take a fucking soft left turn, and he's basically in Maximus. Like he's Maximus. Like Spartans, what is your profession? Romans.
Romans, what is your position?
It's right there. Yeah, Romans. What is your
okay,
position?
so they got two guys who are already in Zack Snyder flicks, basically playing the same thing. Something, basically Gladiator spawned these kind of movies. So what is your, why is Hugh Jackman, how are you going to convince me that Hugh Jackman's better?
I will agree with Myles on one condition in that there is a commanding presence that a certain character needs to have, and I feel like Hugh Jackman does have that presence in a very natural way. We've seen him in so many roles that actually require him to stand out from the crowd, and I think Wolverine being the one role that comes to mind for now is one of those roles. He may not be the leader, but he seems to stand well on his own to stand what's right for what's, I guess, for the betterment of the group. Even though he may not always agree with it at the time, he's always for the greater good, so to speak. So in this case, I feel like he'll always be that one you'll stand behind all the way through to the end of the fight.
Okay. Yeah.
He's convincingly righteous.
Well, let's face it. It's sometimes you either follow the leader who seems to know that he knows what he's doing, or just completely takes action and control, which is very much a Hugh Jackman moment with Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Myles, why is Cavill better than Butler or Jackman?
Well, I'm going to say this. I think you shot yourself in the foot when you said he's not a good leader.
You kind of a little bit.
I'm just gonna say that. I know where you're going with that.
I didn't say he's not a leader. I said he hasn't played leading roles.
But we
in
need
that sense of being a leader.
We need a commanding presence. Leonidas. I feel like it would be too cliche. Like you said, he was already on the mark 100%.
He was already that character.
He was that guy. So he
Don't do that.
I'm not agreeing.
Well,
I'm just
right.
saying he was that guy, though. I made that point.
That little goat path there that the other little Spartan took there with the humpback, Quasimodo. Yeah, that was the path that would lead to this movie, and we don't need that.
We don't want to take the goat path.
No, you don't take the goat path.
Epiphialtes, that was his name.
So you're gonna turn Superman into Gladiator.
Points.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn Superman into Gladiator. He's got the commanding presence. He's got the
So
experience.
why is a Leonidas there? I mean, you said it's an easy. It just takes a left, go onto the goat path, and he's already Maximus. So
I love Gerard Butler. And I think he does.
I love Gerard
He
Butler.
really conveys, like he in that. It's really hard to separate him from Leonidas.
wait. Let me. Could you?
Explain
Love Gerard Butler.
Platonic
He fits that character so well because I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but he also played Attila in Attila the Hun. Attila the Hun in Attila, I should say, actually. So he played a leadership role there too, and he went against the Romans in that. He was the Hun leader who defied the.
Oh, he was Hun, all right.
He was.
He was hung like a horse. Yeah.
Yeah, but he does have a strong sense. He has a lot of presence on film, and I feel like he can convey that leadership, that necessary leadership.
And that's why he's better than Cavill and Jackman?
Yeah, he's a very strong leading man.
Why is Jackman better than Butler and Cavill?
I don't know. I'm not saying that he's not so much a leader. I just feel like he's going to be the kind of character you feel he's going to win. He has that presence about him when he's in any given scene and moment that I can think of. Hugh just always has that presence. Like I feel like he'll be on the winning side. And to me, that's very much where you, as a follower to such said leader, that's the kind of leader I feel people would fall behind. So I think that's why Mr. Jackman would be a good candidate.
All right, I'm going to give you guys 40 seconds. No? 40
You know
seconds.
what? I'm going to tell you guys right now why Gerard Butler wins.
Wait. I'm going to give you guys 40 seconds, and we're going around the table.
I got this. I fucking got
Does
this,
he?
okay?
Yeah, he's got
He
it.
said, "This is Sparta," and kicked a motherfucker into a well. Like, come on, was that not the coolest scene? The camera slows right down. Good dish! I am the leader! I win! You know who he was, in his head, you know who he was kicking in there? He was kicking in Hugh Jackman, and he was kicking in Henry
With one
Cavill.
foot.
With 1 foot,
One
both
foot.
of them
Both of them.
into the
One
well.
foot.
I
In the
saw
well,
all
big
three
well.
bodies go down there, actually.
Well, that was a pretty good
That was his competition. I
That
am
was their
Leonidas.
water well, too.
And Leonidas. And I mean, his name means lion of some kind. Lion King. Some
It does mean lion.
It does, actually, yeah. So,
But his name won't
Gerard
be-
Butler.
it-
Ah!
His name won't be Leonidas, though, in this movie.
No, it'll be Maximus. Not
It
Minimus.
will be Maximus.
Yes, so...
Or Mediumus.
I want to see a take where Henry Cavill takes his bulkiness and his prowess from Superman, Man of Steel, and his ass-kicking and defiance of the gods from Immortals, combine the two, and now we have Gladiator reboot. Boom. Eat it. Oscars 2018. What's
Hashtag Oscars.
Hashtag Henry Cavill Best Actor.
Oh,
Boom.
man. You got anything to say to that?
I don't know. The more they talk about theirs, the more I want to see theirs now.
No,
No, we agree we're not doing that.
I will say this,
up for
though.
that.
I will say this. Both are very obvious choices, I think, is what comes to mind from both Henry Cavill's point of view, because he did have that one role with Immortals that I felt had already that tie-in to what we're talking about, right? And I feel like yours is almost a little too easy, but that's just because of what the role in itself is pretty much a duplicate to a leader like, in Gladiator. But anyway, we're just taking it out of context. I just simply believe that Jackman, Mr. Hugh Jackman, is very much that kind of actor where I see as in terms of a role of a potential leader like in Gladiator, he fits all the right criteria. He's got that sense of drama when we need it, the emotion when we need it. And at the same time, when he's very much, in tune with his warrior self, I guess, he's balls to the walls, easily enjoyable on screen. So that's just one of those things that I enjoy with his presence on screen as an actor. So I don't know. I can't say much more than that. That's more than 40 seconds.
Yeah, well, I didn't get the timing, guys. I really didn't get to do that, so. Oh, okay.
They're all good actors.
They're all good.
I would actually like to see any of these.
Actually, truthfully, if they did make the remake, I guarantee that those three guys would be at the top of the casting list.
I can see that.
Give him a call, give him a call, give him a call. Because they could all do it, and they're all right around the right age, I imagine. I think Jackman's.
Well, the thing is, there might be something. I bet you Henry Cavill is younger than Butler and Jackman.
He's the youngest of the three for sure.
Yeah.
And you guys made a lot of good points. He made a good point because he said it was easy to kind of pick year two because they already kind of did the role already. Kind of brought some more points why he'd be more enjoyable to watch Hugh Jackman. Gerard Butler is like the reason why Gerard Butler wins is he kicked a guy down a hole.
Yeah,
I almost want to give it to you just for that comment because that's awesome. You're right. That was kick ass. I might just give it to Henry Cavill just because he's a bit younger and I think he'd be more for he could do this role for sure. Hugh Jackman, he's already doing Wolverine. He's already retiring from Wolverine because he's tired from doing it. He's getting old. Gerard Butler, he's getting old too, and like you said, it's too close to Leonidas.
You're talking about a general in the army. This isn't a guy who just got in there at a fresh recruit at age 18. You're talking about a seasoned guy who's been around for a long time. He's at the head of the army. So he should be between 35, 45 years old, right? He should be a little bit older. You know what I mean? Like he should be a slightly he should be just about Gerard Butler's age.
I almost want to give it to Boo as well because he made a point. He said he made a very good point saying that you two were like you guys are just too easy to do that because they did the roles already. And that's what I see when I see Leonidas. Like Snyder definitely ripped off Gladiator, and so it's just too easy to do that. So.
You didn't talk about director.
Yeah, we never said nothing about director.
No, I know. You're right. I know, but I'm just saying it's easy to the typecast Gerard Butler.
It would be if you're looking for the biggest.
I did. I said I'm going to take Henry Cavill because he's a younger choice. I think he's the one.
Because you like your generals young, eh?
Well, no, because I think the other two are too old. For one, Gerard Butler is too easy, as he said. I should almost give it to him because he kind of knocked you out with that. But
I don't know if age is so much the issue here. I feel like I don't know why you're basing it on.
I would say that if you wanted to determine it by that, then Booze is the right choice because it's so much of a departure from the other two. It's the one that stands out because.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll make it. Sorry, Clay, you're out. We'll make a little quick question between Myles and Boo.
No, I am going to respect the fact that you chose Henry, though. That's the whole point of this. Is what I'm saying. I just love the fact that all three of these actors had something different to offer to the screen, and we all saw it in different ways.
Well,
that's what I enjoyed.
I don't think yours was a bad choice. And honestly, I kind of feel like I should have given it to you a bit because you did knock out theirs a bit with that. But I feel like in the end, Henry Cavill would probably be the better choice out of them.
Your score system is.
Don't worry about it.
If we're being very specific, though, you are right about one thing. Henry, I think, is at an age in his career, especially now where he is kind of getting a little bit more on the, I don't know if I want to call it mature side. He still looks young in the face. He still looks very, almost like a baby face. Almost.
That's okay.
But when I saw him in that one spy movie,
Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Thank you. That was a totally different type of story, but he played an American spy with a different, accent and everything, and a completely different personality, and he sold it all. He sold me to it. So I just feel like it was one of those moments where I could see him potentially playing a role that was out of his norm, and in this case wasn't quite totally, like Immortals or so literal as, let's say, 300. So they were both very much, the tune of that kind of action that you would want to see, but not so gimmicky. I don't know if that's the right word. Like 300 had a tone to it that was very Frank Miller. Yeah, that's what sold it, right? But Leonidas was a character all on his own within that movie. This movie was a completely different type of story. So any one of these three guys would have been great to see.
I think so too, and I almost want to say Hugh Jackman would be cool to see because I've never seen him in a leadership role.
Yeah.
I've always seen him as kind of the tortured part, where his family's dead or he's betrayed. I can see him doing that, coming back from the dead and like kicking ass.
I see him coming back to the dead at the end of Logan.
Yeah, well, I can see that, but I've never seen him in a leadership role. It was always kind of like a babysitter role is almost what he always plays.
I feel like there's only one movie I can think of, and I don't think it's out yet. It might. It's a new Hook movie, I think, or it was something to do with
it came out and it was bad.
Was it? Yeah, but I think he was the leader of the ship then. That's about one of the few moments I feel like, well, he was Captain Hook, wasn't he not?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I want to change my answer to Brad Pitt.
It's done. It's done.
You know what's ironic to that comment
too? Because he was in Troy.
I was going to say Edward Norton, or before I was going to pick Hugh Jackman.
Edward Norton?
But he's just too small. He's just too small.
All Edward Norton would have to do is go out
character.
onto the field wearing Maximus armor and just stick his arms out like this, like he did in American History X, and the Germans would have just quit and run away.
Just make sure he's got the swastika that's
I don't know if
that's actually showing on his chest at least at some point. Just cut out the leather just so that you.
Are you not entertained?
No, I feel Edward Norton would have been interesting, but
you like my
he's
tattoos?
Not a gladiator kind of character. He you know what? In an actual ring, he would fucking get killed.
Yeah,
he's too small. He doesn't have
Fight Club.
No, it's exactly. That's.
I want to destroy something beautiful.
Yeah, he'd be the one being destroyed. Is unfortunate.
Yeah.
All right, so if you disagree with what I've chosen here, if you think Hugh Jackman was better, or if better role for Maximus, or you think Gerard Butler was better if there was a reboot for Gladiator and played Maximus, then leave a comment below if you disagree there. And I really don't got much else to say about Gladiator. We are going to be reviewing some Iron Fist soon, so tune in for that. We hope you've been watching. We hope you all watched the new episode of Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty. Who's Marty?
Marty. Oh.
Get that Szechuan sauce, Morty.
I need that Szechuan sauce, Morty.
It's my
art. 9 seasons.
97 more years, Morty.
97 years, Morty. Yeah, we reviewed Rick and Morty before. Oh my god, new episode dropped April 1st. It was amazing. Apparently, we gotta wait till summer before we get to see more of that. It's terrible. Also, Joss Whedon is going to be directing a Batgirl movie. What do you guys think of that? Definitely would fit the style, right?
That sounds.
It would fit the style of a Batgirl kind of.
As long as he doesn't let the studio bend him over like they bent him over in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
The movie that killed Whedon.
The movie that killed Whedon.
Yeah, that. Ugh.
It did. It made him quit Twitter, did it not?
It made him quit life.
Well, maybe Batgirl will reinvigorate that.
Maybe.
He'll throw in some of his teeny bopper teen girl humor that he has in those Buffy movies and apply it to Batgirl.
Still holding out hope that he's gonna remake Firefly or continue it or something.
That's right. Hang your head.
You're listening, Hollywood.
Hang your head.
That would only depend on Nathan Fillion.
Oh, God,
but I doubt they're going to go back to that.
Jared Butler and Nathan Fillion. I love both of those guys.
Whoa.
You love a lot of guys.
A lot of man love here.
Platonic.
Let's not go.
A lot of love coming from Clayton's side.
And what do you guys think of? Apparently, Carrie Fisher's likeness is going to be used throughout all the Star Wars movies, even the last part of this saga coming out, Part 9. So we kind of almost saw that happening, right? Because we already saw
Rogue
shades
One.
of that in Rogue One.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel on that. We've only seen it just used once. I mean, I don't.
Do you think the CGI is going to get better to that point where she's going to look better?
If it gets better than it was in what was it, Rogue One?
Yeah.
Then yeah, because I actually had a huge problem with the Grand Moff Tarkin and Leia scenes in that movie. Like, it was awesome. Don't get me wrong. Like, it looked like they really, really worked on it, but it just wasn't quite there.
If you haven't seen Gladiator by now, watch it. And you guys gonna got closing comments because we're gonna cut off the show here.
Nope. If you haven't seen Gladiator yet, shame on you.
Yeah, you're a bad person.
Yeah, it's an
Ridley Scott. He did Alien and Blade Runner before. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And there's going to be a new Blade Runner coming out, so that's going to be cool. We're going to review that.
Yeah.
Defenders will be coming out soon, and because of that, we are going to be, on Myles' request, next week reviewing Iron Fist, a new
Really?
Netflix series.
Thank fuck.
I'm down.
And we'll see if he likes it or he hates it.
Oh, he's down all right.
He's down on hating it.
Oh, really? What?
Save it for next week. Save it for next week. All right, so you can follow the conversation on Twitter. We promise nothing. Drop the G. Check out our great new show on Eastlink. It's called Late Night Ticket. Check that ticket. And you're going to go on Facebook. You're going to give us a big old like because you like us. And you're going to like, share, and leave a comment below because that's how much you really love us. We thank you once again for listening to our show and listening to all our crazy reviews. This is JPar signing out.
Clayton getting kicked down a well.
Myles flying away like Superman.
Like Henry Cavill.
Oh.
Dabu gone bye-bye.
And if you disagree with anything you've heard on the show here today, you could leave a comment below. But as always, we promise nothing! Good night. Are you not entertained?
This is the country and the municipality of the area of Sparta.
Strength and honor.
Straight on.